Good afternoon and welcome to your favorite weekly current affairs program, 60 Minutes Nigeria. It is a program designed to create an opportunity for very enlightened personalities to dissect national issues. And on today's program, we will be looking at the policies of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and of course, the attendant effects on Nigerians. I must tell you that this is the talking point. In every home, the policies of President Bola Tinubu is discussed because of the effects on their livelihood. My name is Ego Sagbalao, welcoming you to the program. I also have with me very distinguished personalities. I have a clergyman, a leader of congregations, Pastor Benson Ogiriake. Nice to have you with us today.
Good afternoon, my beloved.
It's a pleasure to have you. Okay. We also have with us a professor of law and a legal practitioner, Professor Job Odion. Nice to have you with us today.
Nice to be here, Gosa.
Okay.
Good afternoon.
It's always a pleasure to have you too. Yeah. Like I said, talking points, the policies of the president. The presidency, from what we have gathered, is here to tell us now the whereabouts of our president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We are yet to get his exact location now because he's not in the country. Okay. So, the policies of this president, starting from the day it was inaugurated, triggered myriads of reactions. The most prominent is the removal of the petrol subsidy. Before he left the inauguration venue, petrol, or we'll say filling station managers, dealers in petroleum products, adjusted their meters to reflect new pump price of petrol. Well, the president maintained that there's no going back on that policy, the removal of petrol subsidy. There are other policies. President Bola Tinubu is being commended for being a courageous president. He removed the service chiefs and brought in new ones. The CBN governor was arrested, and we understand now that he has resigned. A new CBN governor has just been confirmed by the Senate. So many policies within a short period of time. But are Nigerians satisfied with these policies? Are Nigerians happy with these policies? I won't do the talking. My guests will do that. I will start with Professor Job Odion. Now, yes, looking at these policies,
yes,
I've just itemized some of them.
Some of them, yes.
Yes. What's your opening remarks on this?
Well, thank you very much, Agosa. I recall we were here at a point in time.
Yes.
With our clergyman to also discuss
something related.
Yes, I think it's almost connected with this issue of policies, economic policies.
Yes.
You know that our friend is not here, the economic expert is not here today.
Yes.
I'm sure he would have had to share some thoughts too with us. Like we did say that last outing on this issue, and what we have said in other fora,
yes.
The effects are quite, quite harsh, quite, debilitating on people. It's quite harsh. The policies, some of them are actually long-term policies, really. They were aimed at some long-term effect. But you see, the damage has been done over time, especially the last 8 years, where we actually experienced some very, what I call very terrible economic and fiscal policies that didn't do well for our economy. And so an attempt to rejig the economy now with these policies of the current administration is not yielding the desired effect, because the effect will be in the long term, but in the short term, people are feeling the pains, and some of these policies are not also well thought out, because you see, the policies you bring out for long-term effect as a long-term solution are not what you use for short-term measures. You know, Nigerians were already groaning under the high unemployment, high level of insecurity, inflation was high, the Naira had been crashing, even when it was being managed by the CBN to try and have a government intervention. So coming up with this floating of the Naira to now make it sell at its own value, allowing the market forces to determine the value of the Naira in relation to the dollar, was quite, for me as a novice, I said there before, I don't think it was quite wise, you know, because we're not a producing country. We cannot copy the Chinese model, the Indian model, or even the Japanese model, even the Malaysian model or Asian countries, because these countries are into production. They have something they can do. The only thing we can produce is the crude oil, and that is universally fixed. The price is fixed by OPEC, the output is fixed by OPEC, and so the market value is outside our reach. But if we had some, special products that are peculiar to us, like we have cocoa in those days, we had granite in those days, and palm oil. If we had some of these raw materials or this food stuff that we are exporting, or something that we are producing that we have control over, that is peculiar to our economy, then you can talk about floating in Naira and all that. Then the issue of subsidy, the same narrative has been there. Why talk about removal of total removal when there were no plans, no ready, no clear cut or well thought out plan to cushion the effect, the so-called palliative measures, for example. What were the measures for the workers in the public sector? What were the measures for the general citizenry? In terms of how to cushion the effect. You say you want to allow market forces to determine the price, but you recall that we ought to have refineries. They're not working. So what efforts were made to fix the refineries? Why did you do a 6-month moratorium? Say, okay, my regime, the first 6 months, I want to get at least 2 of the refineries working. Then I want to encourage the Dangote refinery to come on board. First 6 months. Then if the first 6 months these refineries are working, then we can now talk about removal of subsidy. But let me bear the brunt, as my predecessor did for 8 years. Let me bear the brunt for 6 months.
Yes.
Because as we speak now, there are talks in the inner cycle that the subsidy has come back through the back door. That if not, the price for PMS by now will have hit 1,000 Naira. And I recall that was part of our argument, my recommendation here. And I believe that is actually the truth. Because if you look at the market value of crude oil now, the world benchmark, it would have gone higher. So the government is trying to suppress it now at this 605, 620 it is, because it's the only option they have. Anything above this now is catastrophic. You can see the labor threatening strike by Tuesday because of issues of wage increase, the fallout of the subsidy removal without clear-cut plans. Where are the CNG buses? Where are the what is the arrangement for workers in terms of the palliatives of increment in salary, wages, both private and public sector? How are you going to, where is the price control board to cushion the inflationary trend? Because a lot of people are cashing in on it. Because we have this self-preservative attitude that you try to pass the buck. The landlord will pass to the tenant, the seller will pass to the buyer at every strata. Even service providers do the same thing. Everybody is just using that as an excuse. A bunch of plantain can be sold for $5.06 when you don't buy the plantain with dollar.
Okay, so thank you.
Imagine
thank you.
how it goes. Yes.
Yes. Okay. We must make it very. We need to make our viewer to understand that this topic is very apt against the backdrop of the fact that NLC has threatened to commence indefinite industrial action. Now, if that strike is allowed to go ahead, then there will be problem in Nigeria because they intend to shut down the economy. And the president has the responsibility, from what lawyers used to say, that the grand norm, that the government must ensure the protection of lives and property, and of course, take care of the welfare of citizens. Priority must be given by the administration. So, looking at these policies, labor is threatening. this current administration, the policies of this current administration, do we need to adhere or do we need a review? Let's get the opening remarks of Pastor Benson Ogirake, because the congregation that he leads, they also feel the impact, and I believe some of them always come to his office to complain. So that's how pastors get to know what is happening, because they are very close to the people at the lower echelon of society.
Thank you very much, my brother.
Okay.
You know, I want to talk not just from the physical aspect, but also from the spiritual aspect.
Okay.
Because by the grace of God, the Bible used a word, and that word is very, very strong. It said, if the foundation be destroyed, it said, what can the righteous do? If the foundation is faulty, what else can anybody do? So you look at it that as far as life is concerned, I use building as an example to try to express what I want to say now. The strength of any building is determined by the foundation. So you discover that as far as Nigeria is concerned now, the foundation at which this present dispensation of a government is trying to build, the foundation is faulty. So what you do in such a condition or situation is not just to start laying blocks when you know that the foundation cannot carry it. That is why we find ourselves in this time and this season of hardship. So I want to say that the first point of call is that every aspect of the government should be able to humble themselves, to tell themselves the truth. That as far as the way they are going now, the foundation that is on ground cannot carry it. So, you try to raise up some policies, or try to enact some policies and say, okay, the way it is now, let's start running with it. When there are no enough, permit me to use the word pillars, to be able to carry it, there is no way that every one of us will not feel the negative impact of it. So what they are supposed to do is to make sure that this is not the time, for instance, what happened at that first day of inauguration. How can it just be, so, okay, it just came up and said, since the past government ends subsidy in that month, meanwhile, we are still having at least 1 month ahead. He just said he's removing it. And before you know it, everybody started implementing it, which is supposed not to be. So you have not stepped into the office, you have not made your plans, you have not tried to say, okay, if we take this decision, what should be the effect? Is it going to be negative? Is it going to be positive? These are some of the things that they're supposed to do. That is why anybody that remove plan from whatever decision they want to take, in fact, such a person cannot survive it. The first thing that's supposed to be done is to come to the table. Now, these are the situation on ground. Study the situation first. After studying it, then you say, okay, if we take this decision, what should be the end report? What should be the end result? What should be the end picture that should give? Then if you look at it, that is for it will give a positive result, then you take the step. As you take the step, while the people are trying to feel the heat, then you're already telling them, look at solution, look at solution. As long as they are already seeing the solution ahead, everybody will want to say, let us stay and endure for a while. But not when the decision has been taken, people are feeling the negative effect of it, and you are not showing them the solution. So they are not seeing it. So you just discover that it's as if we are just going. That is why the Bible says, when a blind man lead the blind, it said both of them will fall into the ditch. So as far as I am concerned, the leadership we're having now they should try to open their eyes. Let me not use the word blind. They should try to open their eyes to be able to see where are we going to. Because as far as this time is concerned, it's my earnest prayer that God should strengthen and help this nation. If the strike should come up, my brother, I'm not prophesying evil, because I know the power of God that is in me. I'm asking that the mercy of God should be able to keep this country. Because what will happen at the end, it will be too terrible. So what is just need to do now is to make sure that they come on board. Let us see what are we going to do to make sure that at least we rescue situation at this time.
Thank you, Pastor. Okay, we understand. Before Professor Job will continue, we must also make this very explicit. We know that just like he said, that some of these policies seem to have long-term effect, but in the interim, short-term effect, Nigerians are feeling the heat. Everybody feeling the heat. But we must not allow a situation where the NSC planned strike is allowed to go ahead, because we've just gotten some feelers from within the NLC that they actually timed when they intend to go on the indefinite strike to allow President Tinubu to make to deliver his Independence Day broadcast. They believe that that day is very sacred, very sacrosanct. Leaders on that day normally deliver important remarks or important messages of hope. So they want to listen to the president. If their demands will be met on that day, if their demands are met, no need to go on strike, Prof.
Definitely. That's our hope.
Even the demand of the LSC encompasses the demand of ASU.
Definitely.
Yes, so that's why you are you are also waiting for that Independence Day broadcast.
We are very anxious.
What do you expect from that broadcast?
Okay, well, thank you very much, Agosa. Once more, I think we expect action. It's going to be a broadcast, but we want him to, walk the talk, as they say now, because the August broadcast he made to also douse the tension of the proposed strike then was more of rhetorics, promises. Promises, of course, was backed by little action, or some action though, with the 5 billion naira that was released, which some states have not been able to actually account for, and why some persons have not actually felt the impact of those palliatives, at least to confirm that actually such palliatives were ever released, or if they were released, they actually distributed to the right channels, to the right people. So for this October independence speech, we want action in terms of, for example, being selfish in my own opinion, and first telling us what you have for the workers in the public sector in terms of the wage increase, which the NLC has agreed that, yes, we would have preferred a negotiated wage review, which would have formed the basis of what we call a collective agreement, which would proceed from a collective bargaining that can be enforced by the union's mechanism of enforcement. But give us an award, as they say, just an award. Just the way we feel that what they gave to the tertiary institutions, the one they released for university staff, both academic and like an award also, because it's just arbitrary, and so hold the little you have given to us while we ask for more. So we expect that first there should be a pronouncement on the wage award for public sector employees, which the NLC, and of course we already know that the private sector, to some extent, some private sector, those under NECA, they started implementing this wage adjustment quietly, even since June, when the subsidy was removed. They already tinkering with it for their workers quietly. But it's only the public sector that so much noise is made. You have to beg government, because for over 4 months, there's a committee set up. The problem with the NSC, the NSC has the committee that how can you, and TUC too, that I can for 4 months. For 4 months, you cannot come out with a figure as to what you want to give to workers as their wage review.
Yeah, before you continue, the federal government did reduce working days. Don't you think that was a way of cushioning the effect of this?
We raised this issue the other day. Raised this issue the other day. I said,
we did.
We're not saying you should reduce the work day for us, though. Because in other clients, people want to work every day so I can earn more money. In other clients, where they are paid by the hour or by the time. So the more I work, the better for me now. Why are you using my work so you can pay me less? Doesn't make sense now. So it's because you want to.
Okay, I just wanted
to good interjection.
Yes.
But the answer is that you want to run away from responsibility now. It's like telling the driver who is on the pay as you go, say, today not drive me, today I want to sleep. The driver will be happy. I'm not going anywhere, I want to sleep throughout. No. The worker wants to work. Pay him what is commensurate with his there. Not his workers' money is not tied to his transport. When you tell the worker, you're assuming that everything is tied to transport. Of course, transport is basic. You can as well reduce his transport allowance and increase other wages. When you say stay at home, that reduce. The more you stay at home, the more you eat food. And when children are on holidays, you can imagine what you go through when they're on holidays. So why say I should stay at home? Just you only save one aspect: transport. My health allowance, my housing allowance, that will not cure my rent. My landlord will increase my rent for staying at home too much. so why say you can imagine? So let's to more specific, to more serious. It doesn't cure it. The issue is review the wage so that you can have the multiplier effect. Because if we review the wage too,
I'm also going to interject again because
go ahead.
While you are making your comments, there's need for me to really interject. Now, the wage review.
Yes.
NSC or the labor unions, from what we heard, they are looking for about 200% increase.
Yes.
Now, do you think that kind of increase will actually solve the problem?
Well, it can solve the problem in two ways. First, I don't believe government has the means of paying that, because that would be eating too deep to government's recurrent expenditure, especially when you know that money is meant for only a sector, the public sector. Like all of that people have complained, it's only workers that exist in Nigeria. Only workers, we are public sector workers. So you cannot take all our central pool and give to public sector. So I belong there. We have to be realistic. So that is a bit on the high side. And if you even do that, there will be multiplier inflationary effects. Inflation will eat it up immediately. I have never been a person of wage review. Unfortunately, I've always been that there are ways you can do these things. But government can intervene by taking off my housing. We will have good housing scheme for workers. This transport we are talking about, it's not by giving us free buses. Work on our transport allowances. Work on the transport system. Let's have the rail system effective. Let's have the water transport effective. Let's have more public buses. Public buses, we have the BRT in Lagos. So that is why the NSA give us the CNG buses. They have the CNG buses. As we used to have the labor mass transit those days.
Okay.
If we bring about 100 CNG buses to Edo, for example, which they can do, 100 is not too big. So you can imagine the effect it will have. And you now empower the CNG people, though gas is going up, that's another problem. So it's because of delay, they say delay is dangerous. Because if you start using CNG by now, I don't know what's happening to the gas that is going up. That's how it should have to be addressed. But because the whole argument about CNG now is going to fly on our face and because the gas is also becoming expensive. But these are part of the proposal anyway. Wage increase, CNG buses, and then also try and intervene in some key sectors like the tax reforms. Thankfully, we must give to government. This government, they've tried to reduce the incidence of multiple taxations. Okay. Encourage the private sector, those employees, the industrialists. Let's bring up our industrial hub in Nigeria. All those industrial hubs in Ikorodu, in Lupeju, in Lagos that are not taught to churches. You need to reclaim them. We cannot have more churches than industrial layouts in Lagos, for example, which was the hub. Go to Lagos, Lupeju of those days, where you have all those factories. They are all our churches. So we're not producing anything. So how do you encourage production? So we must work on that too. And that is what Labour is also saying. Let's stem the level of oil theft. Because once we speak, the oil theft is still very high. When you look at our crude oil production every day, you look at the leakages, it's still very high. In spite of what they are doing with the Tompolo company, Tantita, and all those companies that are doing, it's reduced, but it's still very high. So you must work on that too. So that you can increase also our revenue base, so that we don't keep borrowing every time. Because when the revenue base is getting down, you have to borrow. Okay. And all these things are saying needs funding. Yeah. Like I said before, don't task us.
We must take a break now, and when we come back, Pastor Benson Ogedake will be talking about what he thinks about this demand of labor unions, especially the aspect that has to do with increasing wage upward review. But let's take a break now. And our viewers can contribute to this program via telephone. The telephone line will be displayed shortly. We'll meet you after the break. Okay, nice to have you back on the program. It is 60 Minutes Nigeria. It's always a delight to know that you're spending your 60 minutes with us, or part of your 60 minutes with us. My name is Ego Sagmalao. I have with us Professor Joe Bodion. I also have with us a highly respected clergyman, Pastor Benson Ogirake. Before the break, we're just talking about the need to avert the planned industrial action by labor unions, NLC, TUC, and affiliate unions. They intend to shut down the economy next week if their demands are not met. Well, we're just talking about the aspect of wage review. 200% is what they ask for. Pastor Benson, now do you think that kind of increase in wage review will be the best?
Well, I want to say this, that looking at the percentage is on the high side.
Okay.
The reason I'm saying that it's on the high side is because, one, it's not just only the workers that are feeling the effect of this hardship. It also cut across all boards, those that are staff of government and those that are not staff of government. So because of that, you discover that if the government is settling just only the workers alone, which will eventually give opportunity for commodities to be increased in the market, whereas it's affecting others who might not have the privilege of having such money or such access to such assistance. So I want to say that, first of all, the percentage is high, number one. Then number two, I want to also say this to appeal to the labor union, that they should please come to a round table, try to look at it. It's just unfortunate that...
Okay, Pastor, I have to quickly interject. Let me just take this call. We have this caller. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, please, what's your name? Where are you calling from? And make your contribution.
This is Sonny. I'm calling you from around the King Square.
Okay, please go on.
Thank you very much. I think we have said this over and over again. The labor union, they are not part of the problem. They are part of the problem. They must remember that they are part of the problem. You see, a man that must come to equity must come with a clean hand. For example, before now, when laborers are talking, even though government may not do what they want, the government is afraid because of the result that will come back. For example, let's say, I don't say for example, for almost 2 years there was no local government election. What did the labor in those states, what did they do? In this state, there's a local government who had backlog salary. What did labor do? Is it this labor that are working with politicians that will be taking serious, or which labor? So I think that if they are truly concerned with the well-being of the people, they shouldn't even be talking about increment in salary. Because even though you might say, let's pay wages, 200,000 as they requested, without price control, unemployment is there. The purchasing power is not there. What have you done? Just increase market, and at the end of the day, the more that you increase wages, the more things are expensive. For example, go to Bidauchi Road. There are people carrying livestock like ram, goats, that are dying every day because of the bad road. Don't you think it's something that labor can work on? ASU was on strike for us. What did labor union do outside ASU that was fighting for themselves? So I think that they shouldn't isolate themselves from the problem. The problem is already there. I can guarantee you that if they decide to go on strike, I can tell you that people will suffer. They will not be safe either. But I think that what they can do, can they look for a way to speak with President Bat and
What's the meaning of that?
That shows that you cannot peel a wood that does not have back.
Okay.
What if you try to peel a wood that does not have back? What you are going to be seeing is you are going to inflict injury. So they need to find out what is the time frame. Now, since you are a new person, even though you are not new, can we give you 6 months? What is the time? Give us time. Now you are sure that we can go back and see that what you are saying you will do. So if you can't give us this time frame, then we can look at what to do. But if that one is not there, it becomes very difficult to deal with the situation. So I think first of all, they should deal with them, have this time with them, then let's look at what you can do. On the part of government, can they also keep the agreement for once? Look at for 2009. All the agreement they signed, the MOUs they signed, was never kept. So we must have a responsible government. Where is the World Bank that said they must remove subsidy? Where are they today? Who is the one something that they want back on is the Nigerian citizen. Let's go back and look at what we're not doing well.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
God bless Nigeria.
Thank you. That's a wonderful contribution from one of our viewers. Yeah. You can also make your comment. But as a Benson, you were just talking about this wage review.
Yes. So first of all, I was saying that it's on the high side. Then there was a statement I was going to make, because you look at it that it's so unfortunate that our government is such that until you use hard hand,
force of
until you use force, they don't want to listen. When you keep hearing about, for instance, those that are in government, what they are collecting every month, you want to ask, do these people actually have the passion to want to serve this country?
Okay, you continue. Let's also get this caller. Caller, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Your name and where are you calling from?
I am Brother Yukolo. I'm calling from St. Xavier.
Okay, make your contribution, please.
If I can talk to Labour, there's no need going to strike. Let us beg them, because if they go to strike, now we commoners, now we go suffer. All those people they say they want to strike because of them, they will suffer. Even if they want to sell one pack of rice, 100,000, they have money to buy. So please, let us not talking of strike. Let us beg them not to go to strike. That is my comment. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, this caller, a resident in Benin City, has said that MLC should please share the idea. They should not go on any strike, that the people will suffer. When 2 elephants fight, it is the grass that suffers, that no need for strike. Okay, let's quickly get this caller. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay, your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Kensola from Saple Road.
Okay, please make your contribution.
Yeah, the truth of the matter is, Labour is the problem of this country. We must say it fast. That is just the truth. They are the problem of this country. One, if you said you are fighting for people, you don't bring your own interest first. Like the Americans today, I say, ask the country, what can you do for the country? Not what the country will do for you. What will you do for the country? But today, our labor is so corrupt. That is to say that they are only fighting for their own interest, not for the interest of the masses. Number one, when we are going to agitate, you are going to agitate, the first thing you are going there for is your own pocket. Increase our salary. What about the common man in the streets? It will also affect the common man too, because when they increase your salary, the goods and services in the market will rise up. Is that not true? So, the truth of the matter, labor is our problem in this country, because there is nothing they have done that has yield good to our country. It has never been. It has never been. So they should stop. And the strike will not hold. Because the federal government will give them, we take them. That is just the truth. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. The only thing we will not accept in the comment just made is that labor is not corrupt. We won't accept that because we don't have a labor member of the labor union here to defend labor. So we will not allow that kind of comment. Don't say labor is corrupt. Labor is not corrupt as far as we are concerned. And well, we've made a point that labor should also consider the interests of the generality of Nigerians. not everybody are working for government. There are some other person in the private sector, some other person who are self-employed. So I think that's the comment is trying to make, that they must consider the interest of every Nigerian. Okay, let's quickly take this one because Pastor Benson needs to make some more comments. Okay, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Okay.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, please, your name and where are you calling from?
I'm coming from Lagos State.
Your name?
Ekota.
Okay, go on.
I'm coming from Lagos State.
Yeah, go on. Make your contribution.
About this labor issue, they want to go back to strike on this strike. They will go back to strike because they want to support the masses. So they want to support the masses because when they go on strike, how many people cannot afford something to strike things at the house, to eat or to take. So the person is very, very hard now. Because there are many things that are going on. You look at the fuel, things have cost in the market. So you don't just people cannot afford to buy anything or to feed their friends. So make some issues of the funds, right? Or not to
Okay.
This is part of the people we have in this country. We have, because before, when they say labor, when labor wants to come outside to fight for the masses, when they say something and that thing will come to pass. So now we don't have anything about labor. Because when they say labor wants to come outside, they will go back to close doors, do that for as well as finish, they don't enter their house, matter don't close. They don't do anything for the masses. We are suffering. There are many people who cannot afford so spending, who want in a day now. So everything we just go for the
Okay, thank you very much. Our caller from Lagos Street. I think those who have called in, they seem not to be in support of the planned strike. We'll talk about that, but Pastor Benson, quickly conclude what you were saying.
Okay, like what I was saying just
yes.
now. First of all, I want to commend those that have been calling in.
Okay.
You could see that all of them are doing one part. And what they are saying is that there is no need for strike.
Yes.
And then another person also reiterated what I said when I was saying that it's not just the labor workers.
The government workers.
Yes,
People are not government workers. Yes.
But you now discover that there are all ranks who are also feeling the heat of the hardship. So which they actually need to consider before taking any step. And I want to say this, sir, that our government need to rise up to their responsibility.
Okay.
Why did I say so? For instance, I use this as an expression. Any parents who expect that until his own children or their own children come from school, after driving them out for school fees, is an irresponsible parent. You have been able to know that, oh, my children are in school, yet you prepare for it. So the same way that government should rise up to their own responsibility, it is not until when people are threatening to strike before they take action. I see that one of the reasons that all these things are happening is as a result of lack of trust on our leaders. If there is trust, if they have been able to build trust, it's just like both of us now, for instance, we have known access for a long time, for many years. There are things that I have known about you that once you tell me this is how it is, I believe you because over the years you have been able to build that trust. So the same way our government should build trust so that the citizens of this country, they should be able to have that trust and say, once our government speak, they speak. It's not just that you speak and at the end, what you said you want to do now, you give a time frame of about 6 months. There's 6 years. We are still looking at it, and you are still saying, you just discovered they were about to go out of the government. So which are not good.
So government should, before government make any pronouncement, they should be ready to stand by it. Yeah. Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, please, your name and where are you calling from?
Waipo, Sapler Road.
Okay, your name, please.
Waipo, Sapler Road.
Okay, I think you are a woman.
Yes.
Thank you very much. We have a female caller. Please go on.
I don't think strike is necessary or talking about increase in salary.
Okay.
We should go and repair our refinery. And the labor problem we have.
Okay. Okay, please reduce the volume of your television set. Reduce the volume of your television set. It's affecting your comment. Just reduce your TV set. Okay, go on, please.
I'm saying there's no need for they should talk about our refinery.
Okay.
If they are striking at all, let them talk about repairing the refinery.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah, we were having problem with the audio there, but I think what our female caller has just said is very important. She is saying no need for strike, but rather we should appeal to government to fix our refineries. Well, that is also another long-term issue because they can't fix it now.
Yeah, before.
Okay.
Yes.
So, Prof, yes, what do you think should be the way forward? Because we're talking about the policies of the president.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. The president removed service chiefs. Has that curbed insecurity? Has that tackled it?
Well, that is the challenge really, because there seems not to have been a major impact. There's no radical difference from what we witnessed in the era of the previous government and the previous service. Because I just saw in the news that government invaded the community in Kwara State. It's not Zamfara State, it is Plateau State, it's Benue State. Students are being kidnapped at random in secondary school again. They start picking students from secondary school and universities and all that. We talked with Nuru Ribadu as the NSA, who has some sanity, some cohesion, some level of there'll be difference. The other day about 7 personnel were killed that Saturday in Imo State and environs. So there's still insecurity there. They may say, well, it takes a while to ease out and all that, but what we want are immediate solutions, especially when you have to tinker with the service chiefs, which means all the while they were not the problem. Because we expect that if you bring new service chiefs, you bring the younger ones who are still very full of ideas, with the hush of blood to work, that we won't be hearing about killings the way they are now. At least there should be some law. If it's just 3 months, 4 months, there should be some law, not that it's still going on. The way to tell us that there's no more Boko Haram, but the Boko Haram, they've left the forest at night.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Let's quickly just take this caller. Good afternoon. Please reduce the volume of your TV set, otherwise we can't hear you clearly. Oh, okay. Yeah, go on.
And now, have the nation really asked President Tinubu is ready to be the president of this country? What is he doing? It's out of assembly and they have gone on 2 months recess when they have not worked. You can see why Labour said they want to go on strike. There is nothing they are doing that is showing that they need what they are doing. They go play the government to come out. I just want to put it that.
Thank you very much. Thank you. That's another wonderful comment.
Yeah,
okay, please, Prof.
So on the issue of security, there has not been any impactful ideas or development from this service chiefs and the NSA. We hope that they will improve as time goes on. I think they've ordered for more helicopters so the other day to boost up what the previous government did. Let's hope that it's a work in progress.
Okay, work in progress. We have this caller. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Victor Faji, calling from the Sample Road.
Okay, please go on.
My question is, where were this labor before things got increased to this stage? We always felt the impact of labor when Adatom Chemule was still there. Mainly Adatom Chemule lived. That other man, still number. That one will just come to the telly and be backing, and in the end, no action. I want to suggest if they should go major thing that is making everything the market to increase is the fuel. If the fuel comes down now, every other thing will follow. You hear me?
Yes.
These labor, they don't just know what they are doing. I'm telling you. They don't just, I don't even want people to say there will be no strike. Yeah, you know there will be no strike. You know why? They are always this. What they told us that everyone of us should get to prepare for strike. Before you know tomorrow, let them say we resolve it, and we don't even know how they resolve it. You understand?
Yes.
So if we want to make the country work, or let us bring person like Adam Ochemule, who is always talking.
Thank you very much. Thank you because of time. Thank you. We appreciate you. Yes. Okay. Pastor Benson, your concluding remark.
Okay, sir. First of all, I want to say this, that everybody hands need to be on deck.
Okay. Collective effort is needed.
Yes, it is. This is not the aspect of just leaving it to government alone. But government have a lion's share of it to rise up to their responsibility. And labor, as it is, as a union, they also need to make sure that whatever step they are taking is not a step to further increase the hardship of the people rather than creating solution. So that is what I want to say. And to say the last word is that as far as this nation is concerned, God's mercy will visit us and help us to take us out of this yoke.
Thank you very much. Pastor Benson, we must thank you and thank all the religious leaders who are praying for Nigeria, because the way you have spoken now, we are very happy. It means you pray for Nigeria. Yes. Because the way you have been talking, and I know other religious leaders who are also watching this program, I know that you have a duty to also pray for Nigeria, because sometimes the problems of Nigeria, you begin to think that maybe we need a divine touch. Yes. Because it might be above the human factor, you know. But all the same, we thank all our religious leaders for their prayers for Nigeria. Your concluding remark.
Okay, thank you. We're concluding. I think, well, on the issue of labor, labor is a union, and as a union, they fight first for the welfare of their members. Okay. So the strike notice is first to protect the interests of their members. If things are getting expensive, as the other man just threatened to increase house rent, transport will increase and all that, what the worker is saying, please give us some reasonable, wage that can take us home. So I'm also a member of a union too. So that is self-preservation, which is normal. So then the market unions, the market people have their own unions too. But what we are saying, the unions should not be for the purpose of exploiting customers or buyers. Also try and be moderate. Okay. The government on their hands. Yes. Final government must come out with some ad hoc short-term measures to cushion it. Like I said, I'm happy they have tried to make sure that the fuel does not increase more than the 600 it is. It is partial subsidy, half subsidy, this big on board. Okay. Work on the Naira, the new CBN governor. He talked so much promise, so much flamboyance of thoughts and ideas. We should go into action. Think of how we can shore up the Naira. It's 1,000 to the dollar. It should not go beyond that. Not even a cent should be added to 1,000 Naira. It should be coming down in the next 2 or 3 months. Thank
you very much. I know that if we had all the time, my guests, they are ready to dissect the topic for even the public. They are willing to make comments. They are still calling. Thank you very much. So, Pastor Benson, thank you. Professor Joe, thank you. Thank you. Our viewer out there, thanks for your contribution. I believe the authorities will heed your call. And for the NFC, all our callers seem not to be in agreement with the need to go on industrial action. Maybe you need to have a review of your decision in the interest of Nigerians. My name is Ego Sagunlao. Do have a wonderful weekend ahead. Bye-bye.